Ahoy and welcome back, LCO fans, to another beautiful week here in Oceania. The tides are looking firm as we got some banger games coming to you. My name is Papa Pike, that is Skimmy, that is Tally, both clearly not in games, looking to run hard tonight and get some wins. But before we do anything, let's just stop the clock. Let's look at yesterday's games because they were fire. Let's jump into it.
Overstaying a bit, and he might fall down because of this.
I think he has, yeah. He's gone a little bit too deep on this occasion. Found one in the mid lane. So you know what? Matrox, I forgot just how much healing I have. Oh my god, between Sun to Sky and the World Ender passive, this champion's insane.
Trev, have you got, you said you got a bit of a spicy pick. Have you been playing with anything really off meta?
It's pretty off meta, you probably think that.
And maybe Fury are like, yeah, we really have been cooking.
Yeah, we see Sovereign's play again. He's like, what the hell is going on?
Is this the decisive fight that sets the tone for the rest of the series, that brings it to a conclusion? Out of the fog of war, in jumps Fury. He's dead though. The Crow Storm's just not enough. Look at Champ, who actually let the dogs out, because this man is going crazy. He's found the triple kill, hunting for the quadra. And if it wasn't for that pesky tower, he may have just gotten away with murder. Is tonight the night to get some new TikToks created, get another 1 million followers on social media and showcase that you are the Rakan god? The Hex gets across the wall, causes a little bit of confusion. Aladurok on the wraparound. Look at that for a flash pounce raise. You're the focus, and you will be going down third. Massive shutdown to kickstart the fight in a Bliss favorable scenario. Okay, once again, finally ready to go in the mid lane. A one-man depth charge. Kenny comes along and says, oh, there's a slice to shove again, but does he die as a result? This one, the minefield looks good in isolation, but not to be the case. Look at Violet go, jump straight into the backline to try and kill Raze, but then there is the fate sealed. And Nikosa says, I shall protect. A double kill found for Violet before he's done.
Wow. Like, I look back at those and I can't believe that the Fury went in twice, popped off that hard. Like, that clip of Chirp was actually phenomenal there, Skimmy, and I love it. But before we even get into anything, how keen are you guys for tonight? Like, this is another super week. It's night 2. How are we feeling?
Bangers, mate. As always looking forward to seeing what we have on our cards. As you mentioned, in the Fury came out, a whole bunch of extra new exciting champions came out too, so I'm wondering if this is the case now, but it's ramping up closer and closer to the playoffs, with the best of 3s, the best of 5s, the chance to try and showcase some of those crazy picks becomes that much more important, and yeah, looks like every team is fighting tooth and nail for any point they can try and get here.
It's too many twisted fates in the games because we got wildcard picks all over Summoner's Rift. But let's look at something a little bit different. Let's look at the playoff standings before we get into tonight's schedule, because this is a nice little graphic because Ground Zero are locked in, baby. They are ready, they're rearing, they're ready to go. Team Bliss and Antic now sitting in the lower bracket as well, Tally, with Ion looking to enter into the lower bracket potentially, depending on how nights go, but it's looking pretty good, Tally.
Yeah, and I think this, as expected, we always thought that this would be our, main 3 teams, and we get to see them locking in their seeds. Ground Zero locking in the upper bracket playoff seed, which is, so important to get that extra bit of information, seeing your direct opponents play before you even have to verse them. And I think that, gathering that information is so crucial to preparing a good draft.
Look, we're going to have to see what these teams are willing to pull out tonight, but let's have a look at tonight's schedule as we get ready to see who will be taking onto the Rift tonight. It is Ion Global versus Ground Zero. The battle to see if Ion can solidify that 4th place, but also Kanga versus Antic is going to be quite a big one too, but I think everyone's looking at Ground Zero Ion tonight, Tally.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this series because, like I was mentioning it last night, we had that clash of styles, but I think this is, much closer input to that clash of styles where we see Ion really prioritizing AD junglers, and we get to see Shern, the wizard in the jungle, how he's going to deal with that.
Wizard in the jungle, are we, what's that saying again? Wizard gaming? Don't ask.
Shadow
Wizard. That's right.
That's the one.
Shadow Wizard
Shadow Wizard
Running
Gang. I'm going to get it one day, but no, as well, Skimmy, Kanga Antic. This is going to be quite important because this is a chance for Kanga to at least make their mark.
Well, exactly right. Yeah, I mean, for Antic, obviously coming off that loss last night, going to feel pretty rough. And for the same extent, I mean, Kanga have yet to find that win, so they've got a point to prove. Antic obviously want to try and find a way to bounce back in 24 hours. And you would say on paper, okay, that's an easy one for them to try and boost their confidence a bit. But I'm sure Kanga can say, well, there's still a chance of us making playoffs. It's looking very unlikely given the run that we have to go for the remainder. But look, if they burst out something crazy that nobody's expecting, everything's up for grabs here. So it could be another blockbuster 2 BO2s.
Could be, or not to be. We'll have to wait and see. I'm a poet, and I didn't even know I was rhyming those words. But you know what's even better than rhymes? You know what's even better, guys? It's a champion conundrum because we're getting ready to play some more games. Woo! Let's get into it.
I'm pumped for this one.
Is today the day luck's with you? Is it now your life could read you? Then you must play the game, cause I have to proclaim life's a game of chance.
Ooh, and we are playing Guess That Player. I'm going to struggle straight off the bat because what this basically means is we're going to get shown a bunch of champions. We have to guess who played them because this is all throughout all of LCO Tally. All of LCO. So I think we just not even worry. Let's just jump into the first one and see what we're dealing with. It's gonna be a big list, is what I'm expecting. Let's have a look. See. Ooh, crack the knuckles. There we go. All right, champion pool. Oh my lord. Okay.
There's a Katarina.
Is it in Curcio? I don't think he plays any of those other champions though, right? Like, I think we have to lock this in. We all have to lock in one person and see what it is.
Who else played Katarina?
Who else has played
Yone.
Katarina? Yeah, I'm actually struggling to figure it out. The other champions I can definitely see.
I can see in Kosu playing all these champions.
It's a
Yeah.
mid laner. Has to be a mid laner because, yeah, well, they've got J4 as well.
All right, yeah, I'm going Curcio.
It's in Curcio!
Wait, he played all these champions in the LCO. What?
Has he actually?
What? That's
What a-
awesome.
What an ocean.
We nailed it.
What Chad?
That's crazy. Well, let's have a look at the next one. Let's see what we're feeling for the next one. I think this is going to be, like, that was pretty good. Good guesses from all around. So, okay. It's another mid laner.
Fido.
That does
yeah?
feel like a Fido.
Oh, there's a Gragas though.
Oh, true. Oh,
There's an Akshan. It has to be Fido. It has to be Fido.
I see the Akshan and Varus,
Where-
and I see the Rise, the Cast, the Corki,
Yeah.
Tristana. I'm like, it's Fido.
Yeah.
It's a Fido angle. Hey,
I
you
don't
guys
know.
are pretty good at this. I'm just going off your answers. That's fine.
There's only certain players who play certain champions.
That's pretty good. I think we've seen a lot of good champions with Fido. Let's have a look at the next. Oh,
Holy-
what?
What?
There's a Lilia. Is this
That's
this is
Tien.
LCO?
Tien?
Yeah.
It's like a Biopanther angle because
Tien?
they've just played everything.
Well, I see Lilia.
Wait,
and I know
there's
he played
Kindred.
Lilia top. There's a Lee
this-
Sin, he's played top.
Oh, it's Tien.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, that you guys are 3 for 3. I'm 2 for 3.
Gee.
Not bad, not bad. I think you guys are doing pretty well. Let's have a look at the next one. Another mid laner.
Lilia, Vega,
Wait, Fizz. Okay, now this is my favorite player.
Hold up.
Seraphine.
Rengar?
Is this
Fiddles?
Is this Refury?
Their most played was Azir. That would be a Refury champion.
Because the Rengar's in there.
Rengar, Zac.
Yeah.
It is Refury. All right. The
you
the
playing
Rengar
with it.
gave it away. The Fiddles as well from
The
literally
Fizz.
yesterday.
The Fizz gave it away.
Last one for us. Let's have a quick look. You guys are doing so well.
Okay,
Support.
Renekton. Wait, hold on. Is this?
That Aladoric?
Nah. They
Okay,
were
this
top
has to
laner?
be like a role. So it's gonna be like Appy or
Yeah, this is a difficult one. It's not
I don't know.
Draku because there's no set.
Shinky.
I'm going to say Aladoric,
Shinky.
but it's not.
Oh, is it a current? Does that have to be a current LCO player, or
I
can it be?
think it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll go
All
Shinky.
current.
Yeah, I think Shinky's a fair
Gone
shout. We just want to
Shinky?
play Poppy. He had that split as a top
Calm is
laner.
in there. That does make it.
Yeah. Did you know
You
how
guys are
hard
too
this
good
would
at
be
this.
if it was like previous players as well? Oh my.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was afraid
Yeah.
about.
Well, this is all champions that they've played
That would
throughout
be
their
hard mode.
entire career at LCO. So this goes back years for
That's
a lot
cool.
of these players.
I enjoyed that.
I was waiting for like my champ pool to come up and it to be like 3 different roles, and I was gonna be like, oh hell no.
Who's
That's impossible.
Well, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun. That was really hard. I'm not very good with that because, again, this is my first split on LCO, so I'm still like trying to figure out who people are and like learn and just get to vibes. So that was a good test,
was
honestly. Hit
Do you
my
know, we had a champion conundrum. I forget what year it was, but we had the player portraits and we had them all blacked out. And you had to try and guess from the silhouette who it was. And I was just like, "That's so and so. That's so and so." And everyone's like, "Why do you know what they look like so well?" I'm like, well, I guess we stare at the graphics for so long. Everyone else is like, "You're strange." So this was better. I like this one.
Well, that's not too bad. But also, we have to quickly talk about the big thing on everyone's lips. It is Postman Pike here to deliver your daily mail to the LCO. Don't forget, type in !postman into Twitch chat right meow to find even more. Put those kitty cat faces in there too. Send us a letter. Ask us anything. Ask Gimme a question. Ask Tally what he's doing in solo queue these days. Ask us anything. Even I would love a joke, actually. Someone send us the best league-related joke. Would be phenomenal. But also, you get the chance to win a shirt. We'll send you one if you put a return address on. To send them through, you'll find me on the client, right meow too, because that's a good place for me to sit, if I'm being honest. We should all be up there, though.
We've had our spotlight. I think, Tally, have you featured on there as a player? Surely.
He has.
Surely.
Yeah, surely. So
Yes,
we've
remember.
all had our spotlight. It's we're the superstars, I suppose, eh? Far
Yeah,
out. Right,
all
love
that
stuff.
good. Well, let's go to a quick break as we get ready for the first series of the night. Let's just take it a bit easy. Easy breezy cover girl. It is Ion Global versus Ground Zero Gaming coming right up. Do not leave those seats, ladies and gentlemen. It's a banger. We'll see you there.
Take me out, take me out, take me out, take me anywhere I'll go. And I know there's a hand to the head and the devil's below, hiding in plain sight. I'm a hero, not a victim. I'm a wound up, loaded revolver. If you're nervous, I wouldn't blame you. Come join the revelers. There's no avoiding as we storm into the daylight. Unaware, we're so strong, we'll be victorious. We'll dominate your story. We'll radiate our glory. This is it, this is it, this is it. Gonna do it right now. How'd you know, how'd you know, how'd you know? If the sky's the limit, the future will fly by. Feel the rapture, here's the breakdown. We couldn't do this better on our own. A declaration to our rivals that we will overcome. There's no avoiding as we storm into the daylight. Unaware, we're so strong, we'll be victorious. We'll dominate your story. We'll radiate our glory. There's no avoiding as we storm into the daylight. There's no avoiding as we storm into the daylight.
Here's the reason that Kevy's after becomes the Varus. Forced out of the stopwatch. It's carnage. Only triple happening here is for Python. Oh, it's do or die.
And here we are, your LCO desk, back at it again. Easy money. It's what we like to do. But here we go. We're ready for the first series of the night. Let's just look at the first roster straight off the bat. We're going to be looking at Ion. This team, what the hunger is there, Skimmy. The hunger is there.
It certainly is, yeah, really strong team, and we've been singing their praises all split long, all year long, to be quite fair. Despite the roster changing between split 1 and 2, they've kept that core identity of really talented players, showcasing that, yes, whilst it has been very much a top 3 team, they want to be in the conversation. They want to show not only in their skills, but in their performance as well, that they should be considered a top 4 team that should be looking to try and take that upper bracket position as well. So I'm really curious to see what their approach will be going into this game, if they've got enough, draft depth to really challenge a team as well drilled as Ground Zero.
Well, that's it, right? Like, they're looking for that top 4 spot, just at least to show that they're ready and willing to be in that peak position. But at the same time, they're now up against the top dogs. It is ground zero, this team tally that has just been an unstoppable force.
Yeah, and I think, being an unstoppable force is such a good way to describe them. We really haven't seen this team being pushed to their limits yet. Besides that one game against Bliss where, even though they fell so far behind, the game looked quite effortless for them to, win eventually. So really, really impressed with this roster overall. And I think they've shown, this large depth and understanding of the current meta and just really evolving to make sure they're always able to play the style that they really want.
I think it's really nice as well. Like, you talked about sort of like their champion pool and how they can adapt their gameplay so well. I think even when they do get thrown into some unfavorable sort of matchups, they still have not only the skills, but the capability to turn it around and make it a positive rather than be that negative. Are you expecting something like that potentially tonight?
I think if they do get pinched out, like we've seen in weeks past, that they have stuff prepared. I don't think Ground Zero is the type of team, besides the end, to play the same champs back to back, following weeks. I think they are the type of team to be like, all right, we did this last week, we're gonna do something new next week, and it's gonna be in that same style, but we're gonna surprise these teams consistently.
Well, then as well, we're just gonna quickly open up the jar because we're gonna look at the damage spread just below you and see how these teams have actually been performing. And again, 30% on Jovi on Ion is just looking so good, but it just feels so much more spread out as well for GZ Skimmy.
Absolutely, yeah. Ground Zeroes certainly have multiple attack threats, so if you look to try and shut down one in the draft or in the gameplay, as already mentioned by Tally there, you can have Shern go so far behind, still finds a way to become relevant, right? So I think that's the concern for Ion, right, is that if you do have somebody as commanding in their mid lane threat as Jovi, it's like, do they have enough around them to try and pick up the pieces if he does get targeted? And I suppose in that same conversation, right, does he look to try and bring out any new crazy champion pick to try and get the edge and try and bridge the difference between these two teams in experience? Because you would say Ground Zero, yep, another easy 2-0 for them, but I would love to see Iron continue this sort of narrative that we are on the outskirts of being one of the best. I mean, if we look at the overall kills and damage and deaths rather, they've actually got the same kills and deaths as Team Bliss, right? And that's no easy feat to get up there, to say that you're only a kill or two behind them. So I think they certainly are in the right direction. But it's a case of, can Jovi hold his own? And if he falls behind, who looks to pick it up? Is it, Akawi, 1v9 on Lee Sin? Is Sticks suddenly saying, it's brand new Ezreal time, I can just 1v9 on this? We'll have to wait and see.
You literally mentioned the Ezreal, and I was going to talk about Styx versus this Lemus matchup because we've got a nice little head-to-head graphic related to that. And let's look at these two players, because I think you talked about Jovi being this champion or this player that can really hold the team together. We need someone else there if they decide to go for Jovi. So I think Styx could be that, but Lemus is just such a big powerhouse regardless, Tally.
Yeah, absolutely. When we look at Lemus's pool, we see a lot of this, the center priority, and in weeks past, we've seen how well they've been doing with Kurak playing these different tanks. And I think being able to play these multiple styles in bot lane is what makes that team really flexible. Whereas we look at, Styx's pool, very lane dominant champions. I'm pretty sure everything but Kais would be considered, strong laners, paired with the Leonas, paired with the range supports if they do choose to go for that option, as Hexflash has been mentioning how he believes enchanters are still in a good position if they do find an angle to bring those out. So I think it'll be a good clash of play styles and, both lane dominant players. So I can't wait to see how they clash heads.
I think the big things, the numbers that I'm looking at here too, is you can see Lemus is first in almost every category. KDA we will not even look at just right now because that's still so close. But of the other numbers, they're actually still quite close too. 5th, 4th, and 5th for DPM, GPM, and gold at 15. That's actually not a huge difference. Let's not worry about the bottom one. That's fine. But the middle two, they're still quite close in the greater scheme of things, right, Tally?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not, you wouldn't go back to base with an extra 80 or 70, 80 gold and be like, yeah, this is game changing right now. I've got such a huge lead. But, this is what makes professional play so exciting. It's these little minuscule gaps or what really extend these leads to really blow out of proportion, going into the mid game where you do get to, hit your 2 item spike early on the opponent. And we get to see the best players or the best teams really abuse that extra spike, and that's how they snowball.
Keen to see those snowballs. Keen to see Lemus or Styx pop off, but mentioning Styx, we actually have Styx on the desk tonight for you, for your viewing entertainment. He's got the jersey on too. Look at that drip, man. Give us a show.
You like it?
Ooh, is that the tennis zipper? Or the biker zipper?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, got a little zipper in the middle.
Oh, we got a bit sweaty.
Bicep pop,
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn. Okay, hold on. There's another Mogku coming in. We need to be careful of that one. There's too many guns in this show. But Styx, how you feeling for tonight, mate? You're up against the first seed. Is Iron being tinkering with something special?
Look, I think obviously everyone knows that GZ is a high quality team. They're ranked first for a reason. They haven't dropped a game for a reason. They've, you know, rebuilt their roster with like basically side grades or stronger pieces since last split. But I think the advantage for us this game, I think, is that we're not really playing with our backs against the wall and it's do or die or anything like that where it's really high pressure environment. Like we've pretty much secured playoffs. We've got Direwolves next week who I'm pretty confident we can beat. Like, I think we're just coming into this series and we're like, listen, guys, like, we're just going to try and throw something crazy at them, make them uncomfortable, put them in a position they've not been in before, and try and get an upset.
All right, I like that. I like that. So, are we expecting? You don't have to say, but I'm just hoping. Do we get to see this infamous Ezreal again?
Yeah, look, me and Benvi are pretty close. I don't think that guy is letting me get Ezreal. I don't think he's letting me.
Benvi, please, come on, buddy.
Yeah,
he's just gonna ban it. That's fine.
He actually asked me how much would I have to pay him to not ban it.
Let's not worry about that. Tally, I'll let you take over.
So, I mean, I really enjoy talking about team ideologies, and I want to zone in on Ion and talk about how you guys have yet to play, you know, one AP champ in the jungle when, you know, everyone in the world would consider it so strong right now and probably like one of the more favored playstyles for teams. And is that something that you guys have agreed upon as a team that is best for you guys, or is it just like a limitation you're working around right now?
I think it's a bit of both. Like, there's not a great deal of comfort with some of the AP champions that you're seeing like really high priority in LCK. Like Nidalee is like pick ban over there, and I'm not, you know, I don't know if that's like something that Cully is comfortable on, but I think like we do have AP champions in the jungle pool like ready for us. Like I'm obviously not gonna, you know, run through them while GZ might be listening, but like they're there, and I think definitely that is something that we've been exploring in Scrim. So I'm not going to say that doesn't fit our ideology. It's just something that hasn't happened on stage yet.
Yeah, I was just mentioning because I think that you guys are one of the teams who have had a lot of success playing, you know, the opposite style of you favoring the mages in the mid, and Jovi's doing so well in his 1v1s individually. So I think that it's nice to see a different approach to the game, I guess, and so much success coming from it.
Yeah. Well, I was supposed to follow up on that question then, Sticks, mate. You know, good to see you. You kind of left me on scene in Twitch chat, like we usually go for those little like cat faces, but you know, it is what it is. I'll let that one slide.
I was eating pizza. I was really hungry. I got pizza and I was eating
Understandable,
it.
bro. Greasy fingers. We cannot ruin the setup. My serious question though is, all right, we look at your champion pool this split. Lots of lane bullies, right? Lots of abilities to try and be aggressive, get yourself in a really favorable position first 50 minutes. I am noticing though that one champion's missing. We don't see Caitlyn. Violet Mogju got a pentakill with it. We know that Lemus absolutely loves Caitlyn as well. Is it a bit of deja vu? Is it your time to shine?
Listen, I think Caitlyn on 14.10, like at the start of the split, was obviously like pick ban sort of thing. So we ended up like banning it in our first couple of games just because like I think the way that we wanted to play our lane, or at least transfer into mid game, didn't really fit that identity, and we'd just rather that we take away the option from the enemy team. I think with the nerf of the Collector IE like on 14.11, I think Caitlyn's not as good, she's not as dominant, especially with the first strike nerfs as well, that I think picks that can be a little more lane dominant but then still transfer and do a lot more consistent DPS in mid late game, like Varus, Kai'Sa, Zeri, stuff like that is just more high priority, and we're seeing it in the other regions as well. So I think that's kind of the reason I'm not really whipping it out.
Damn, I give him this like sort of like semi-fake troll funny answer, and bro just writes me a book. Dude's got the Medjais. He's ready. He's locked in with 25 pages.
I think he's just also given us his picks though, but we won't worry about that. We're going to breeze right past it too. Sticks, thank you so much for coming on.
Imagine I say that and I whip out Ziggs though. Imagine that though. That'd be crazy.
All right. So Ziggs is on there as well, guys. Don't worry about it. That's 4 champions they're going to ban out. That's all good. Sticks, thank you so much for jumping on. Loving the jersey. We'll see you on the Rift.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, boys. Have a good night.
Oh, I'll put it onto my cheek. It's where it belongs. I love having Sticks on. He's always a breath. It's great. Like, he's always ready. I'm loving that jersey too. Ooh.
I always really like Six interviews because he gives us a lot of knowledge about like what his team thinks about and what he thinks about, you know, without obviously leaking a lot of the inside information that other teams could abuse if they're, you know, being very sneaky and listening on the interviews. But I just always appreciate getting a bit of a insider knowledge that we don't get to really see from, not being behind the scenes.
Do you think Ziggs is the call, though? Is Ziggs actually good at the moment, Tally?
It's sleeper broken champion, always.
Yeah.
Okay. So I should be
Always
playing
just
Ziggs?
waiting. Always just waiting.
Don't play in solo queue. Hell no. No, never lock in Ziggs in solo queue. Hell no.
But in pro, it's good.
Yeah.
Ziggs Tristana, maybe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's not worry about that. Let's just jump into the jungle now because, ooh, burnt my finger. We got Shernfire on the call, looking real good. Mate, how you doing? Looking sharp. Jersey's all round tonight.
Honestly, Pike, I saw his t-shirt. I was like, oh, bamboozled. I thought that was a Bliss shirt. Is that a Bliss shirt?
That I'm wearing? Nah, man,
Yeah,
different thing, not Bliss.
Alright,
No, don't
thank
worry
God.
about that.
Saved.
I'm going for GZ. Just
He was ready
imagine
to
we'll do a
lead the
chroma
interview.
color. We'll change this to green for you. How's that sound?
Yeah. Next time.
Yeah, I got you. Now, Shed, I want to know, you guys are sitting real comfortable at the top. You've made playoffs. Are you guys now in full prep mode for finals, or are you looking closer towards PCS?
No, we gotta close out. We gotta close out the show. I think that's the main thing. Like, first seed isn't guaranteed yet, so that's what we're looking to do.
All right, okay, I like it. Are we expecting any spicy picks? We've seen all sorts of things at the moment. We've got the Maud, Neferi's played up as well. Are you guys tampering with anything?
Yes we are, and hopefully that will not just extend regular season, but in playoffs too, because we're really close to the next patch, which is going to be playoffs patch. So yeah.
Ooh, all right, okay, Tally.
Now, Shern, I've donned you head wizard of the jungle, as you are, the premier mage player of the league. Can we get a tier list of the strongest to weakest AP champions in the jungle?
Yes, I have 3 tier list, dude. Sponsored by Sunspro. We've got Brand, Zyra at the top 2, and then everything else drops up after that. There's some weird picks you can do. Morgana, I need to test the Mordekaiser, and then you've got the Mumu, like you saw before. Like, there's a lot of things you can pick as long as you can see what the comp is. Like, it kind of has to match what you're versing and what you're playing with.
And to touch on that point a bit, because I've seen like your solo queue account, and I looked at around the rest of the world, is you don't really prioritize Karthus, and well, I think in the rest of the world thinks that champion is like quite strong on the current patch, especially into these range comps that we're seeing. And so like, how come it's not so much of a priority for you?
I think I'm just biased. Whenever I see like a 2 damage nerf, it tilts me like, oh, probably don't want to play that champ anymore. You know what I mean? But
Blue speed's gone.
I'm not right about everything. It could be good. I just probably biased.
And you can all gather information yourself at Sans Perel coaching. Great job.
Yep.
We
Thank
need
you,
one of those
Tally,
like
yes.
why not 10 codes, don't we? Like Shernfire 10. There's your code. Boom. Get some experience in the jungle. So my question, Sean, would be: you mentioned the Zyra before. We saw it played by Fury yesterday. Obviously, works so well in getting ahead, getting strong. Very much like the classic Shern experience of like, give me the keys and I'll take over. So is tonight the night where like a Zyra actually gets looked at and we can see what it looks like in the master's hands?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nox already gave you a good preview. But if I get the chance to play it, I'll play it. It just depends on the situation. I might just play the same old stuff, or I might play some new stuff. It always depends on what they show to me and what they're willing to pick or ban.
And we never listen to Benvi, right? It's what you want to pick. You just, oh, sorry, mate, you're breaking up. Oh, I've locked this in.
Yeah, Benvi never gets any credit, and rightfully so, until we win finals. Right? Then we can start talking again. But we talk more about, I'm promoting him, basically. It's like the anti-promotion.
Yeah. Perfect. I love this. Benvi's always just in Twitch chat, though, molding. He's like, hey, wait. It's perfect.
Well, Shed, thank you so much for coming on, mate. We really appreciate you. Can't wait to see you play tonight. Go out there and kill it.
Appreciate it, guys. Peace.
Peace.
I love confidence from both sides, but we got to get through it because game is so close and ready to go very, very soon. Let's look at side selection as what these teams are deciding to go for. pick for Ion is red side, and GZ looking to go blue side. I'm a big fan of this. I'm going to let you guys talk about this more so in-game, because I want to keep moving on. Because we got some other things that we need to look at as well, which is your Twitch channel points. You need to get them into that little thing up to the top corner. Tally just looked at it. I'm pretty sure I pointed the right direction. I think I've got that down pat now, and that's looking very, very good for me because I know where I am. That's always a nice sign, you know? It's where you got to be. But no, get those points in. I'm going to go do my points tonight because I'm that confident in these games, which is what brings me to the next point tally. Our predictions of who's taken home the 2-0, which we've all said is ground zero. They're just too strong. They're too strong.
We're all joined. The level playing field again.
Twitch chat's so smart.
We can hold each other's hands. Hold on.
Woo!
I put mine up there.
You can try and do like one of those waves, and then
we'll work on that.
It never works when you try and do it remotely.
Yeah, no, it's not going to work.
It
Let's
just
not worry
looks
about it. Hold on, wait. Do I have to go this way?
And then I'm like,
Other way.
whoa!
I can't extend my arm.
Oh,
with
we
the red
actually
gear.
almost had it. Okay, hold on. Yeah, no, it's not working. We need to work on this.
It's not working,
Great,
guys.
okay, good. Predictions. You got a great job.
You know what? Let's not even. I'm going to work on that over the side. You guys get into this game and have some fun for me. I'll see you in a second.
Thank you so much there, Pike. Yes, let's load ourselves into the rift for the very first game of the night. Day 2 of our second Super Week back-to-back. A chance then for Ground Zero to stay at the top of the throne and continue being undefeated. As for Iron, they've gone for red side on both occasions, and I do wonder if there's a real spicy pick that Styx was mentioning. Hang on a minute. They just deny the Ezreal.
They've taken it away, Skimmy, and you know, we've seen this overseas. I know you mentioned it in the past. You know, this was played in the LCS. This has been played in multiple regions. I think this is a flex pick. This isn't necessarily going to go straight to bot lane. This is, you know, I think that when we look at Fido right now, Pale Shonfire, he is, you know, the AD carry of mid lanes. He's going to keep playing all these AD carries he can. This will probably go towards mid most likely, unless there's a, you know, matchup they want to avoid specifically, and they'll go to bot. Still think the matchup is fine, but I think Ground Zero need to be careful about, you know, champs like the Vi right now, because they have to be thinking about if they keep playing these, you know, double carry comps, that like Colley's so comfortable on these, you know, engage AD champions, and if they don't pick enough peel, they really have to worry about, you know, such strong engage champs.
Absolutely, and I think they've had a very confident decision. You saw no hesitation, snap lock-in of the Braum and Renekton right after the response was the Ashe as well as Leona. So there are some peeling tools, there are some aggressive tools, and a chance to showcase just how they want to handle Ion. And obviously hearing from their side, it's a case of let's be aggressive, let's roam around their map, let's make sure we can get as much as possible done. But for Ground Zero, I would like to see them showcase just yet another layer to, you know, what makes them so proficient.
Yeah, and this is a different look from Ground Zero based on the first 3 champs they picked. You know, we're used to seeing Tien like pick up the Camille no matter what, if it's available. Could be a bit of respect going towards Doraemon, or this could be, you know, another flex in the Renekton. This could be a champ who could be flexed between top and mid, paired with the AP junglers from Shen. Have to see what's really going to happen, because I am liking what both teams have put together so far. I think Ground Zero, this is only the blue side drafts you want to have. You want to have these flex picks, you know, really make sure the enemy isn't quite sure about where your champs are going. But, you know, we look at Ion's side, they have, you know, multiple CC champions with the carry in the Talia. More than likely, Jovi has mentioned in the past, you know, how much he favors his champion, and we'll probably see this one go towards the mid lane.
Yeah, not going to expect anything crazy coming out of him on this occasion. We say, can we get a Zyra? They say you cannot.
Hell
2
nah.
premier champions removed, so unfortunately, we're going to have to wait another game or potentially another series for that one to be revealed. But as you mentioned, right, Iron have already got themselves phenomenal engage, so much CC between that core 3. And so Ground Zero, those flexes are going to be fantastic, and you know, it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool to see them showcase yet another layer as to, okay, this is how you can try and approach us. We aren't going to be one-dimensional. Kasante as well as the Sejuani going to be taken away.
Yeah, and I think Sejuani is one of those champs who's popped up recently as the flex pick, being very strong in the jungle especially. And also, you know, we've seen a lot of solo lane Sejuani pop up, you know, out of nowhere. And I think that this is a very strong champion, especially paired with, you know, how you can buy Zeke's so early on and have, you know, the utility from the AoE slow, the early resistances. It's just such a cheap item for these tanks to be able to abuse.
I've even seen a Korean solo queue Sejuani going all out
The
AP
AP guy.
as well. Yeah. And I thought, hang on a minute, is this a new trend? Is that going to catch on? But I've not seen it being picked up by many more elsewhere. So we'll hold our breath for a second until it does get revealed. Let's see what the response then will be from Ion. Going to go for the Gragas, it would seem. So give Doraemon a fair degree of comfort. Doesn't want to try and take the gamble of fighting fire with fire into Tien. and says, you know what, we'll just go for a bit of a grasp trade-off. Out goes the Lily, so you need some AoE. He's played it once before, and look, it impressed.
Yeah, and this is where we get to see the flex finally broken. Is this going to be a mid lane? Is this going to be a top lane? Is it going to be an AD carry pick? We still don't really know where any of these champions are going. AD carry being hovered at the end would mean this Ezreal goes toward mid, and it is going to be Tien playing the Renekton again. You know, this is 2 weeks in a row we're seeing the priority of the Renekton alongside the Camille. It's just, you know, the champ that really is what works for Ground Zero in the top lane. Curious to what the answer is going to be coming out of Ion in last pick. This is going to be the 5P jungle. Do they want to pick more lockdown? You know, do they want to finally poke the Talia in the jungle? They have lots of options if they want to go for something like the Vi. They do want to pick the Yona as they do lock it in. So this is Jovi's champion. Very comfortable on this. And I think this is a very hard matchup for the Ezreal in particular. You know, he can't really abuse his arcane shift against the Yona. It's so easy for him to use that, you know, the E to gap close and abuse this champion who's quite weak in the early game. And I think that Jovi's going to be very comfortable with his matchup, and someone who's so good at the Yone has the potential to take over this game.
Certainly does. Has so much stickiness as to making sure that Ezreal is going to have the most fun time as it gets flexed into that position. Quite exciting to, you know, see a whole bunch of the same champions, but in a different position, just in a different stance overall. And look, I'm excited to see if this is going to be a trend for Iron in particular in this series. Right? If they're going to go for the double red side, if it's going to be a case of make sure Jovi gets all the priority. Like we saw before, the damage share, he's one of the highest in the league. I believe it was second from memory, only just behind that of Hayri. And you know how important he can be for the overall team's success. So as much as we talk about, you know, Kawi loving the AD junglers, it's going to be a chance for him to showcase, look, this is what I can do. We want to try and play like the quote-unquote meta style.
Yeah, and I think that Ion have really got the comp they were aiming for, even though they were surprised by the Ezreal flex most likely. They still have very favorable lanes. They have a very favorable comp. You know, look at Schoenfire on the Lilia. He is really good, these AP junglers, but I have to think that it's going to be quite hard for him to play into, you know, the Gragas, the Leona, and the Ashe, because if any CC does land onto him, that's going to mean follow-up coming from the Leona, or the Ashe, or the Gragas, and that CC chain is going to mean death for him.
And it certainly will, Tally. Let's load ourselves then into the Rift. As it stands right now, Ground Zero, 5 wins on the bounce, 5 series wins, I should say, sitting in first place already with that upper bracket secured. As for Ion, currently sat in 4th and are hoping to keep it that way. Already 3 points up above Direwolves. Any single point here today would just give them an extra little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, and we heard Sean in the interview talk about how, you know, it's not about taking it slow now. They want to, you know, keep the foot on the pedal and really secure first place for themselves, because they want to keep staying in form, being such a strong roster, and make sure they, you know, going into playoffs and then hopefully going into PCS for them, they will be the best side they can be.
Here's what we're hoping for, right? We certainly do look to try and rally around the boys once they make their way overseas. We want them to certainly have their best foot forward and really showcase that, you know, it's not a case of us being this really depleted region. We certainly have a lot of talent down under, and it has been proven with them finding success with boot camps overseas, or even being, you know, imported to those major regions as well. But I'm excited in particular for Fido here, right? The fact that we've not seen mid-Ezreal at all this year, let alone ever, I want to say. I think the only thing that comes to mind would have been the AP Ezreal that Predator played a couple of years ago, but I have to fact check to see if we've seen it in mid, because it just feels classic Fido-esque, right? You know, give me an AD champion, it could be the Varus, it could be this. Forget about Tristana, it doesn't always have to be that option.
Yeah, he's one of our premier cooks. He's always coming out with these, you know, sneaky picks, trying to abuse the meta, or trying to help his team style just do even better. So it's nice to see they're building the repertoire of champions even more, and his champion pool of 80 carries just keeps growing every single week. But I also really like the Braum pick this game, because I think that Leona as a champion does have weaknesses when versing these champs who are really good at peeling, and, you know, she can't really lock down mobile champs like the Zeri, so making sure that if Hex Flash does decide to go in, he's going to get hit with the passive, going to be stunned up, going to take a lot of damage. I think Braum is really good into these engaged champs, and especially paired with these double 80 carries.
Yeah, when you sort of talk about the difference between like an Alistair as well as a Braum, well, I guess in this case, right, you are anticipating that Leon is going to go on in, take them up with concussive blows to say, well, you're already overextended with that Zenith Blade, now you can't even move. And Limis, so early on, as soon as they hit level 2, just skates right over that wall and into their face.
Yeah, that's the aggression that we're used to seeing from Limis. You know, we talked about how these guys are both very lane-focused players. You know, finding level 2 first against the Ashe is not something you're used to seeing, but they really, you know, use that little window to create a little advantage. This is why we get to see Limis be one of the best players when it comes to early game stats.
He certainly is, very lane dominant. Let's see what Jovi can do here as well, as he trades aggressively there with Fido and tries to see what they can find. But then Fido gets a bit of momentum here, all in with the flash, finds first bloods. I tell you what, Fido says these unique champions, you know, you just cannot match me.
Yeah, just a really, really nice, easy kill from Fido, trading really well in and out of the creeps, and then uses his cooldown advantage to find the execution on the Zervi. Press the attack, Ezreal, very strong in the early game, so to make sure you do not misstep, you know, tank that Essence Flux, Mystic Shot combo, which means just so much damage.
So much damage, and instantly the TP comes back out to try and salvage something here. But that's a really nice heads-up play, right? So much mobility, as do Ezreal, a champion that we talk about needing to try and snowball early on. And actually, the link up, the telepathy between himself and Limis is go back to base, shop, double purchase on the Cole, because we just believe that this early game's going to be free.
Yeah, it's just the classic, you know, third or fourth wave base by the Cole, just a nice laning item to have. Make sure you scale up, but you know. Dian going down very low on the top lane. Does he have access to the Q?
He certainly does. Gets a lot of HP back as a result. Turns it around with the stun. Slice once, slice the second time. Not to be found. Doraemon may have outplayed him here. The flash, body slam back on in. And now they're both waiting for cooldowns. And they're just not quick enough. That was so close, but this is what we sign up for.
And he doesn't have a point in the barrel, so you cannot find the exit on the, you know, the kill on the exit. But it's really well played by both of them, knowing their limits. It looked like Tien was going to go down there, but he's just doing a really good job at abusing that Fury, you know, cull the Meek and make sure he's in the creep wave to get as much healing as possible before he pops that one.
Yeah, really nicely done there. It's certainly going to mean that for both these junglers, actually, there's a few different considerations as to where we should go. Do you look at the mid lane and say, well, this Ezreal has no mobility? Or do you go towards the top lane and say there are no flashes left? Actually, speaking of then, both junglers have pathed all the way up to the top side. Got to see what they can find here. But all the action's found in the bot lane instead. Keurig getting aggressive, gets turned around by that Zenith blade. Instant flash away, the auto with the ignite. It wasn't enough! The flash to secure it. And Sticks in the 2v2 gets a dub.
Yeah, and this is... When you look at Braum, Braum's really good at disengaging champions, but he is not good at being the aggressor. He does not have the same base damage that Leona has. We see Hex Flash using the 3 spells onto Kurak, and his health bar just melts. You know, pair that with Ashe in the early game. Press the attack against Conqueror is going to mean you have more upfront damage, and there's so much damage going on to Kurak. Falls down even though he blew the flash.
He certainly did. Lots of exposed lanes now. These next few minutes are going to be precious in terms of making sure it remains stable, especially now that level 6 is starting to come on through. Bit of a paradise then for a jungler to pop their head out of that one. No camps to clear as it stands right now, so a chance to see what they can find on a more PvP-based metric.
Close to 6
Coley is looking for Fido. The damage comes out, started off, looking to try and get in with the lockdown. The seismic shove is fantastic, and he's going to be stunned for the meantime. The damage, is it enough, as Coley's going to have to do it all on his own.
Fido?
The pebbles aren't there, the Essence Flux pops, and instantly, Coley has to run too.
Yeah, Jovi was 1 minion off hitting level 6, and that would have been killed. Have to see if the True Shot Rose does land.
Oh my
nice
god,
flash.
He was watching. He was not stabbing those you know, jungle camps, looking at Boris in the shop. He was thinking, you know what, I need to make sure I do not die to that True Shot barrage.
See, you know, this is really nice by Ground Zero. Kurak coming to mid lane, making sure that, you know, this wave can get pushed out by Fido. We see Shern once again with the CS lead because he's really abusing the fact that, you know, Coley cleared a bit slower than him, so you got to seal away the 2 camps on the top side, gets the grubs himself. And we're just seeing, I think, the natural, like, veterancy of Shern and how good he is in these matchups. You know, it just, nothing's really happened in the jungle dynamic this game, but he already has such a big lead in his 1v1, and that's just going to snowball towards the mid game.
It's just his comfort, absolutely. Every single time we see him in an AP jungler, you think, yeah, this is not going to be close. You need to try and find some other angle to approach it, because if you try and match it, he's shown it enough times this split alone to say it is not going to be worthwhile. So we'll have to wait and see, though. Yet to find that first gank. The first one, obviously, on the side of Ion was pressure. But as you mentioned, 1 minion could have been a difference between them finding that retaliation back, but not to be at this stage of the game. See them looking towards the bottom half of the map now, just doing a bit of counter jungling, quite honestly.
Yeah, and this map state should favor Ion. You know, Doraemon should do a really good job playing the weak side here. I think it's quite difficult to dive him if he plays that well. If Ground Zero continues to be aggressive here, we'll see the level 6 come out of Coley really soon. He might be able to impact the spot lane.
Yeah, level 6 is actually available there for the Limus, or for the bot lane of Ground Zero. So Limus gets aggressive with the Lightning Crash and makes sure that they don't get too far ahead of themselves. And Shadow Crystal Arrow is there to try and match it, whether or not they use it in the lane. They'll look to try and find one of these cross-map plays because Tien's already bored. He's proxying waves, and all across the map it's looking at Ground Zero being aggressive. They have to show a bit of a straighten out because Coley's been patient and said you cannot get away with this one. So advanced in that lane. Out comes the air shot. Limus with no cleanse, with no flash, only escape to safety. But is that enough? He's frantically running to the mid lane, but he won't find any sanctuary there because Faito's also under attack. Shunfire has to be drawn away from that jungle. Lemus is hanging on for dear life, 20 HP and a dream, and just out of range of everything. Out comes the sleep, and that was the pill he needed.
The discipline to not go in there by Sherd is not something that I would have personally had. I would have gone for the damage, but really nice to see they disengage that. You know, Lemus lives on a minuscule amount of health, and Jovi almost finds a solo kill in mid, but really nice flash by Fido to dodge down that last Q and survive on such a small amount of health.
So close either way. Both those fights could have certainly turned things around in a much more Ion-favoured scenario. They are still only lagging behind by about 800 gold at this stage, so the early game is definitely benefiting them. But as you say, yes, it's becoming a bit of a jungle diff very quickly.
Yeah, and just see the constant aggression coming out of the Ground Zero side. Collie is one camp of getting the level 6, which, you know, won't really change his power that he has in these skirmishes, but just really unfortunately, he's just not being able to find his camp. Shern does have the upgraded smite. It's going to be off cooldown really soon. Collie does not have access to his, so it's going to be a very easy steal for Shern.
Yeah, it's rough there. You can see that they're just letting it go back and forth, resetting, and then saying, well, it's just going to come down to a smite fight. And as you mentioned, Shern simply just wins that up by 33 CS to combine with that 2-level lead. Really is Shern's paradise right now because he's keeping up farm with his laners.
Yeah, and the whole time Iron was pressuring bot lane, Shern was in the top side, stealing away camps, always making sure he's being as aggressive as possible. He's probably the strongest member on the map right now for both teams, so anyone who runs into him will be in trouble because the amount of power he has right now, especially if he recognizes Collie is not here, is going to be lights out for the Iron bot lane.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's going to be an absolute menace. On Vision doesn't really care. Styx does manage to get that base off successfully, but Hexflash doesn't have the luxury, unfortunately. The next wave arrives, and so does the gank attempt. True Shot Barrage from mid to bot. The Ash ult from base, not to connect. Hexflash ran to the left. Whereas the ult was just tucked in right next to that tower. Jovi's TP'd in, but the fight's already finished. We then take a bit of a stock check of top lane and see that that's not changed anytime soon as well. They continue to be incredibly aggressive, and Jovi really unlucky not to stop that one.
This is a bit of breathing room for Collie. You know, doesn't decide to steal away all the camps. Instead, he's rotating to top to try save his top lane. DN does have the flash though, so he does have the potential to be able to outplay this one.
He's got the stun, primed and ready to go. Holds it for the very last second to try and escape out of that Talia minefield. It wasn't to be enough in the end. Doraemon's had enough of it. Hits him with that body slam flash. Covers so much ground and gets it done in the end. Fighter responding with a TP of his own to try and make a laning gank happen, and also is going to be denied.
Yeah, and we just get to see the constant covering from Ground Zero. This is something they're so good at. Every time someone falls down, something else is being traded on the other side of the map, or someone is teleporting to making sure that there is some coverage happening. Jovi might be in a lot of trouble here. Does have access to the Fate Unsealed to get out of this gank, but if this Q does land, he's going to have to pop it.
Going to have to make sure he keeps having those fancy feet. Actually turns it around, so watch this. I can do a little bit of damage. Dodge out another projectile and then find safety in Hexflash. Tag teaming up in the mid lane and say, let's hold this 3-man attempt as a 2-man unit. Really nicely done there for him not to feel under any kind of threat. That really shows the confidence he has on this champion.
Yeah, that shows the comfort he has on the champion. Really nice use of the E to, you know, underrated interaction is you can buffer CCs with the Yoni. That's why we see it in the Zoe matchup. Before the sleep pops, you snap back and you deny that CC. So the same thing happens there where he denies the slow coming out of Lemus. And just a really good job to outplay that without having to blow his resources.
Well, it's taken about 11.5 minutes for us to actually look at our very first objective. Well, at least towards those dragons anyway. 5 of those Void Grubs have gone the way of Ground Zero, so they're going to be sitting very pretty on the top half of the map. All 6 now to be confirmed, so their siege is absolutely through the roof. But for, I suppose, a win condition that Iron can look to try and play towards. It's taking a little bit of time to get this dragon, but they'll at least have that under their wrap.
Yeah, and, you know, talking about win conditions, the main one for Ground Zero right now will be Shern, but also, you know, Fido is doing a really good job. I think it's also underrated. 80 carries in mid lane. They do so well with these extra levels. You know, their base damage is so high already, and that's the reason why we see them in. You know, when they get so much solo experience from these supports roaming, they become so strong. So being a solo laning 80 carry means you're going to be so ahead of the curve when it comes to your damage output. And we have to see, you know, when we get to the mid game, when Fido has those 2 items, the amount of damage his Mystic Shots will start doing.
Yeah, certainly will pack a bit of a punch right now. Only about 10 CS between the 2 of them before that coal gets cashed in, and suddenly that CS lead jumps just a little bit further ahead in their favor. And whilst there has been a relatively passive game from the kill count, it's only been one of rather meticulous nature, looking to try and always eke out minuscule advantages in those straight 1v1s, and Tien finds himself now a 1v2, so instantly activates the Dominus. primed and ready to go with the stun to lock in place one. The Conqueror stacked up right now and says, you know what, I don't know if I win this, so how about I just trim it this way? A couple of turret shots and then actually dies to his own slice and dice.
Yeah, Tien had no way out of that whatsoever. It would have been a miracle if he did survive that one or manage to turn it around, but he gets the wave in the end, so there's going to be no trade from, you know, Ion onto that top lane turret yet. And once again, Shern always stealing away something, always being aggressive on the map, making sure that whenever Coley shows he's doing something else on the other side of the map, it just constantly just foot on the pedal that he keeps talking about.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, pops his head into mid lane and says, let's just take a few turret plates. What is this Yoni going to do about it? Has to just watch and say, well, I have no protection. I don't think I win in a 1v2. So now across comes X-Flash, looking to try and offer a little bit of support. Gets the Curek there, just saying, well, are you going to actually attempt to go for me? Styx says, this cannot go unpunished. And they literally drop everything on his head to send him back to base for the third time.
Yeah, just a bit of disrespect from Kurak there. Does have the flash, does have the Merc Trace, so I can understand why he feels a bit safer that he was there. You know, isn't so bad to trade the flash for a lot of the ults coming out of the Ion bot lane because that affords you so much pressure on the map. But does fall down there, and that's going to be a kill going over to Collie. So he's, you know, we look at the inventories right now, and even though Shern is so far ahead, they're sitting on quite similar power, even though I assume Shern is sitting on some gold right now. It doesn't really matter if he gets CC'd by the Ion side, and if he gets blown up in these team fights, you know, we get to see the rest of the lanes of Ion doing so well, matching up in terms of combat power. Blade of the Rune King already coming out of Joby to match the Triforce from Fido, so I think that Ion are very happy going into this mid game with the game state so far.
And it's an interesting one, right, as you mentioned, as to what do we look for next? What is that next major focus? Herod obviously being taken right now by Schoenfire single-handedly on Vision, but they don't really seem to care about that one. But itemization-wise, at least, it is very even, because the Kraken Slave's being picked up now. The only one behind without a Mythic would be Tien. So if a fight were to break out, I'm sure Iron can say, look, yeah, we can see on the scoreboard they're behind nearly close to 2,000, but they should be pretty ramped up to go for that. I say it, Coley then falls them down in the jungle, and maybe it just won't happen.
Yeah, and this is just Ground Zero was set up top side, Iron was set up bot side, so, you know, Coley disrespects the vision control they have, and he tries to rotate over vision, and, you know, what happens when you walk into the blind jungle? You die.
Very scary, that one. You just caught me off guard there with the cliffhanger of like, yeah, you just die.
Just die.
That's just it. What happens, unfortunately. Life isn't as easy as we made it out to be, I suppose, in the jungle. Oh, yeah, you just go around taking camps all day, like an Ivan. That's not all, you know, sunshine and rainbows, unfortunately, but Grand's going to be feeling pretty happy about this one. Joby going to unleash himself from the bot lane for just a second, but Grand Zoro grouped up as 4, say, you know what, let's get this turret, let's take it now. In jumps Hex Flash, drops the Solar Flare, and the Weaver's Wall, it's good, but it doesn't completely lock off the lane. And it makes it quite easy then for Grand Zoro just to take the tower and disengage after.
Doraemon? He's looking for it.
Certainly is looking for it. Won't go for the bomber. It holds it for the end, just gives them a nudge. Back to their tier 1.
3-man sleep.
And that is a disgusting sleep right there. Jovi jumps on in. X-Flash follow things up with the Zenith Blade to start. And then Coley gets the kill. Kurak dead to start off this fight. And Schoenfire's being slowed on down. Doraemon pops him in place, but the heal is good. And then Jovi finds access onto Lemus, who cannot simply dash across that wall. The flash
Fido's here.
Cover enough distance, but it's a double for Tien. He's still relatively topped up and healthy. But this Yone is doing so much in tandem with the Talia. But it does get put to rest in the end, and Ezreal now has the double buff.
Yeah, and that's just the Merc Treads by coming out of Shern. It was so clutch the fact he was able to flash out before he got locked up by the CC, and going to replay, we can see straight away Hex Flash aggresses onto Shern, but, you know, thanks to the Merc Treads, he's able to get out of this fight. There's just not the follow-up coming out of the Ion members yet, and we see the whole time Fido is in top lane. This is just a straight, you know, 5v4, and this was going pretty evenly for the Ground Zero side. You know, Lemus really respects the bomber there, holds the flash, and I just think it's a really good re-engage from Ground Zero, but this is what happens when the Lilia doesn't have the flash. It's so hard to get into the fight. And, you know, unfortunately, Joby doesn't find this huge combo that he wants to with the Fate Unsealed, but you get to see the strength of the Yone right now with that one item and how strong he can be with at this point in the game.
Yeah, blow the Rune King, and you basically say, look, I am full build at this point, sitting very pretty in this one. Concussive Blows tags up Doraemon, just looking for the stun, and there it is, tagged up then by Fido, acting as that pseudo-Eddie carry, whilst Lemus roams the map elsewhere. But Doraemon is a lucky man, and they show a bit of reprieve, so they let him get away on this occasion.
Yeah, it's going to be the classic tank who doesn't take damage from Ezreal because Ezreal doesn't do damage to me. But as we scale up into the game, you know, maybe they'll be different. Maybe Fido might go for something like a Blade of the Rune King just to take down this tank. But, you know, there is also, on the other hand, he doesn't have to be the one to kill the tank. You know, he has the Lily, he has the Zeri, who are really good at blowing up these tanks, especially with Leandri, especially with the LDR coming out later from Lemus. So his job is to just create space and just be a nuisance and finally find those angles later on in the teamfight to execute these squishy members.
So he is, and I think he's found himself a fair bit of luxury with those 2 item spikes already in place. He's got the static shift, he's got the Runans, his AoE potential is really going to hit like a truck, especially when the ultimate is ramped up and ready to go, but that wave clear too. You can just bounce between these waves and keep Iron responding as opposed to trying to be the ones to engage.
Yeah, and he's sitting on the full tier right now, so when he does find the gold, he finds the reset, he will be able to pick up the Moon Mana, but Shona is walking in without flash here.
Yeah, it could be a bit of a dicey situation as they look to try and contest the enemy red buff right now, but as Jovi comes out of that when he looks to try and follow up that fantastic solo play onto 2. That's the Womba combo you look for. Doraemon's not here, he has no TP, nor does Fighto, who continues to push in the bot lane, but it's all about Tien right now, who finds a double. He doesn't burn the Ignite, now he does in the end with Leandri's assistance. And look, these fights, it took a bit of time, Tally, but we're finally seeing what these comps are built to do.
Yeah, I'm going to need to see a replay for that one because I'm not sure how Styx took so much damage there. You know, was that the AoE coming out of Shona, or was that Lemus by himself who just blew him up? Because it looks so good for Ion. Jovi did such a good job to lock up Lemus with the Fate Unsealed, and all the members from Ground Zero were split up, so it looks so favorable for Ion. But once again, it's just going to be Ground Zero who just eke out this tiny advantage.
Certainly do. Let's run it back on the replay like you want and see how it all begins, because very difficult for the Lilia in a situation like this.
Yes, we see Styx get initially engaged onto by Lemus, and he looks pretty healthy right here. You think the positioning should be very good, but he does fall down to a lot of the AoE coming out of the members from, you know, Ground Zero. So it's just a lot of like Shern plus Lemus and then followed up by Thien to finish him off. But a lot of kills going over to Coley, and this is going to be very, very good for Ion. You know, he is their main AP threat. He is, he's going to be doing so much damage, especially against like a low-range team like, you know, the Braum and the Renekton, who has to dive into him. And I think that with the front line of Doraemon, he doesn't really have to worry too much about, you know, the damage coming out of this Ezreal.
Yeah, absolutely. Is the most fed member on the side of Iron right now. Only shortly behind is that of Jovi. Fido, what's he cooking here on this occasion as Tien will look to try and split push. Has drawn back Jovi to try and entertain the idea of another 5v4, maybe in a similar situation. He will bully out Doraemon on the flank, looking to try and protect this tier 2, and the Herald will not guarantee that another tower will fall on down. Iron, unfortunately, have yet to find a tower to try and get a little bit of passive lane push of their own. And again, it just kind of continues this narrative that Ground Zero can go all over the map, continue to push, and Iron just have to respond.
And they have so much vision skimming. It's really scary for Ion to walk in blind right now. They don't know what's going on. This Baron won't necessarily die extremely fast, but if the Iron members do not react or do not feel like this Baron is being started right now, it's going to be such a free objective for Ground Zero, especially with the amount of damage coming out of Shern right now.
Yeah, so passive is Hex Slash right now. He actually puts a very defensive ward on down by the time he does realize that it's going on, especially with the Ash arrow, rather the Hawkeye vision to reveal it. Tien says it's too late. You've fallen for our master plan. In jumps Hex Slash, but only to be outdone by the Renekton, who's getting it done right now, tanking up the world and more. But Lemus opens up the kill count. In jumps Jovi with the one-man ult, only on Securak, however. And as he slingshots back, Sherm puts him in the grave and finds a double kill. Coley, the one fed member, the one AP source, not to be enough, and that's our first ace of the game.
Yeah, and we see Styx being over-aggressive there, walking in way too far ahead of his team. Tien finds the initial engage onto him, and you know, with the Ashe going down as the first member from Ion, it's so hard to match up the DPS coming out of so many carries from Ground Zero, and that's going to be the first ace of the game going over to them.
Certainly is. Such a dicey situation. You've got to really overextend yourself to try and find vision. Are they still on the Baron? Are they not? Are they actually going to peel away from this one? But by that time, you've just given too much time for Ground Zero to then pounce upon you.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it was a really good setup by Ground Zero. You know, even though the Baron was dying really slow, their initial plan was to never finish the Baron unless the enemy team does not react at all. They had a really good setup with Tien playing for the flank, and they also had Fido in the top side jungle, so they just had multiple flanks from multiple angles, and they really abused the fact that Styx was out of position there.
They certainly did. Dicey situation as a result, but some nice itemization being picked up by both these AP junglers. You can see the verdant barrier there, the components towards this Banshees on the side of Shern, whereas Coley has gone for that full rush, but the biggest difference with the fact that the Zhonya's is there too. Yes, the Flash is still down, but the Zhonya's is such a massive part of what makes Lilia strong.
Yeah, and I really like that Shern didn't complete the Banshees. You know, he's just sitting on the component of the Verdant Barrier, so he does get the Spell Shield, which is so effective against the Ash Arrow and the Solar Flare. But then he goes straight for the Zhonya's, which means that he won't be getting picked off like, you know, we see Zoe right now.
Yeah, really unfortunate for him there, right? Jumps across the wall once again. Very paranoid about, are they on this Baron or are they not? So difficult for Ion to not only force themselves through the mid lane, but to get some vision to understand what Ground Zero's next move is.
Yeah, and we get to see the same setup again. Tien on the flank doing his best to zone the enemy out. Collie does have access to the flash, so if Ground Zero do want to play this for a flip, it would be the case. But, you know, I'm just going to walk away, you know, posture for the Dragon if they do want to set up for that one. But I think that Ground Zero still has the ability to fight this next objective.
And I wouldn't put it past me, if Iron went all in on this Dragon to say we must get ourselves in a soul point position, there's nothing to stop Ground Zero saying, we have 6 Void Grub stacks. We just run it straight down mid with a Baron buff, and that's not a worthwhile trade for you.
Yeah, and like this is once again, Ground Zero were being forced to react to a play, but all of a sudden, you know, they're like, all right, guys, you want to go Dragon? We're going to go down your mid lane. Really nice wall by Collie to deny the wave here, but they're not really abusing this wall to take the Dragon right now. They're kind of just following what's happening. Shern does have the Zonians. What is it going to look like?
He's looking for it, doesn't need to pop the Zonians anytime soon. Jovi snaps back to cancel that sleep, goes in for that one-man ultimate, but it just gets Arcane shifted out of the Solar Flare, doesn't connect, but Styx does take down Tien, who is hunting for a solo on the flanking side. As they pepper them from the angle, Jovi jumps in once again to keep them interested, flashing out of that lightning crash, but is getting run down in his own jungle by 4 hungry Ground Zero members. He's making them work for it. He's got a fair bit of mobility, but will Ground Zero give up that chase? Arcane shifts back into the Enchanted Crystal Arrow! What a kill! What a fantastic pick from Jovi! Head in his hands from the side of Fido, down for 40 seconds as he has to watch this fight with a grey screen. And Jovi, look, he did as much as he could there to keep them interested, but he eventually will fall down too.
He's done it. He's done it, Skivvy. He finally turns around at the end, you know. Really, really scrappy fight from both sides, but I think Styx did such a good job there. You know, we see him walking in. It looks like he's inting, but he's creating so much space for the rest of his team to be able to clean up there. And we see the teleport coming out of Doraemon.
Uh-oh.
No flash.
Lemurs, you don't want to be here. CC'd all in place by the Gragas. Didn't expect him, quite honestly. And yeah, that juicy target of that low HP Talia is not the one they'll find. So as the dust does settle, a fight that took so long, we literally went from Baron into this massive little stalemate with the Weaver's Wall. Finally, Iron find that Drake.
Yeah, and this is one of the you know, the causes, because Ground Zero have stayed on the map back to back. They got a lot of standing gold in their inventory, whereas Iron have reset already. They're setting up the next objective. This is why, even though this fight is so scrappy, there's no ult from Tien. He doesn't have the same pressure onto Styx. He's able to kite him out. There's so much time being bought by the members of Ion while they're taking down these crucial members, and this is just a really, honestly, clutch play by Jovi to buy so much time, and then, you know, be able to re-engage with that Enchanted Crystal Arrow and find that kill that really, you know, nets them this ability to get back in the game, because we are looking at around an 8,000 gold lead, I believe, still. But there's a lot of standing gold on the map, Skinny, and if they're able to pick up these outer towers, it's going to be a completely different game.
It certainly is. There was an objective bounty on the Drake when they picked it up, so certainly going to help their cause, but a little bit comical. Really does feel bad, right, when you flash out of what you think is that arrow and ultimately you still get hit by it. So the fight does take a bit of time, and as we close out this one, yeah, nice little disengage to find 2 in the tail end and to make sure that, look, we are the 2 major sources of AP we both are going to carry.
Yeah, we also see the Zonia's coming out of Collie now, so he picked up an entire item after that team fight. His damage is going to be much higher now, something they have to really respect. Shern does have access to the flash in his next team fight, though, so it's going to be much easier for him to navigate how this fight functions. But we start to see the QSSs coming out of members from Ion, so, you know, maybe the sleep won't be as impactful as it was in these earlier fights, and finally they're going to be able to create some space for, you know, these major carries from Ion to be able to do some damage.
Yeah, it just gives you a little bit of extra versatility, right, in terms of how you want to set up for these fights, especially as the Yone. We saw him in that previous skirmish snap back to cancel out the Lilting Lullaby, but then the QSS does afford you the ability to make sure you don't need to use that all the time. You can keep that uptime high to get the kill and to be that menace that we know Yone can. But either way, it is still a pretty big gold lead, still around that 8k margin, as you said beforehand. It doesn't look like that's changing any time soon. Still Ion yet to find a turret, but it's 6 grubs, 6 towers, and just look how far pushed up they are as a unit.
Yeah, we have so much standing gold on the map for Ion Simi, so if there is another throw from Ground Zero, I think this gold lead will just disappear completely. But so much aggression coming out of the Ground Zero side, you know, playing on multiple lanes and just making sure that they're taking camps, denying Collie from getting any resources at this point in the game, because, you know, the only farm he's going to get is from these pushing waves. He cannot enter his jungle as long as Ground Zero is still on the map.
Yeah, very difficult for him to find any kind of essence in that regard, as you say, but builds are mirrored, apart from the boot choices between these 2 junglers. Elsewhere, though, you're starting to see that gold lead truly come into fruition. Fido well and truly ahead, and I think it's even more evident when you look at Lemus, even on that board there, right? Up by a handsome nearly 4,000 gold. Look, this this Zeri will be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's so good into the enemy comp. We have to see Joby posturing for this 1v1. He will absolutely win this if he does find Fighter, but there are so many members from Ground Zero coming, and Fighter does have access to, kite this member out pretty easily.
And he certainly does. Flashes up and available for him in about 10 seconds time, so we had that luxury as well if needed to be, but wasn't to be. As we'll just take the safer option and say, just look, attend to these lanes. Maybe they look to go for an inhibitor and we can farm up some gold if the game just doesn't end from that point on, but we're working our way towards yet another Baron spawn in 40 seconds, and if we have another bit of a fiesta afterwards, there's a potential Ocean Soul for Ion 2.
Yeah, this is 4 items sitting in the inventory of Lemus, and Joby being caught out right now might mean he's going to be able to show off how much damage he can do in this next fight.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, it's a losing battle there, unfortunately. 4 members would have surrounded from every angle. There was no get a jail-free card, and it's as simple as that for Ion to say the pressure is against you. You need to try and do something to claw back this near 10,000 gold deficit. Maybe a little bit too hasty on that occasion, Tally.
Yeah, definitely caught out of position. He had no reason to be that overextended in the top side. There's no objective to really contest ball. There's no reason to start pushing out aggressively, especially without your members backing you up. It'd be much better if he is baiting and that was a fight that could potentially happen, but, just called out. Fortunately, he does have access to the teleport, so if this fight does extend around the Baron, if they do want to contest this, he can teleport in and impact this fight.
Let's see if they find any kind of success going for that Baron dance, because at this late game moment when level 16s are pretty much across the board, the damage is so high that that Baron, by the time you're there, it is already gone. Picked up by the smite of the Lilia. Then they say it's time to fight thereafter. They look at Doraemon, the full combo one towards him, stunned himself up with the body slam disengage, and down for 45 seconds as the rest of Grand Zero say we've got 2 lanes to push towards, and we're not afraid to go ham.
Yeah, and they should feel very comfortable to push in, break the base, because without that main front line coming out of Ion, it's so easy for, the squishy members of Ion to be caught out of position. I think that, Lemus has the potential to flash and find a really big edge, especially with a nice sleep like this.
Ace is broken, the snapback once again from Neone, cancelled it out, so only Hex Flash that gets locked in place with that sleep, but still. Solar Flare's been burnt, so the impact was already fairly neutered. Do they decide to go for the Flash Zenith Blade to try and overforce their hands? Styx doesn't have the Ash ult just yet, but they're still keeping them interested. There is the flinch that the Fate Seal goes on in and snaps into 2. Fighter takes him down as his dead body returns back to their base, as does Styx in quick succession. And that 4 items there, we said it would be a problem, and it certainly is proof right there. With members down for such a long time, this is Grand Zero looking to put this game to rest and showing that, hey, it's another chapter in what makes us such a formidable team to go up against. A new style look for Grand Zero, but just so clean at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. A very clean performance from Grand Zero. Even though it's quite longer than the usual games we expect out of this team, I still think they did a really good job to, snowball, especially in the individual 1v1s, and push that lead, make sure Schoenfire was always getting the camps, always defending his own camps, and I think it was just a really well-played game from Ground Zero, and it's another showing of this play style that they keep solidifying on.
Yeah, comprehensive performance really across the books there, showcasing new champions in new roles, but also just showcasing expertise. I mean, kudos to Ion, especially to Cole Lee there, despite being what was, I think it was like 80 CS behind at the end of the game there, from having such a rough early game, to make sure that he was such a relevant factor is no easy feat up against the Juggernauts there, RGZ. They're the team to beat right now, and they currently lead this best of 2, 1-0.